Hello, folks. Quick little video blog in response to a question I got about ninja and shuriken. Did the ninja use shuriken? Well, again, I got a question about this, and if one person's asking it, there might be a few other people wondering as well. Now, if you look, of course, at the media, yeah, it seems pretty obvious that the ninja used shuriken. In the movies, they're throwing them around like the expiration date is tomorrow. If you have a shuriken, then that's proof that you're a ninja, and all ninja use shuriken. Now, on the other side, there seems to be a movement now to say that the ninja did not use shuriken, and that was a myth of later days of the modern era. Well, as with most things involving the ninja, the truth is a little bit more nuanced and it's kind of like in between the two things. First of all, shuriken were not ninja exclusive. They were used by a wide variety of people. You could basically say that everybody used them. And if everybody used them, that means the ninja could use them too. It wasn't everybody except ninja, it was everybody. So if you were disguised as a ronin, a masterless samurai, and you had shuriken, it wouldn't have been unusual. It wouldn't have blown your disguise. So, the basis for thinking that there was no the ninja didn't use shuriken is based on the idea, well, based on the fact that there just isn't any historical record of them using them in battle, and that books like the Bansen Shukai don't deal with like how to throw them, explain how to throw them. Well, that's not unusual when you really know history and get deep into it. First of all, there just really isn't all that much in the way of records of battles, blow by blow descriptions of battles involving the ninja. They were very rare. Most of them dealt with things like raids, and on raids, the ninja would be carrying something with a bit more oomph, like whalebone bows instead of throwing stars and spikes. They just do more damage, and if you're on a raid, that's fine. Shuriken are better for like carrying around every day and disguising and concealing. So if they went into a fortress dressed as a servant, they could have some shuriken underneath their clothing. If they got caught sneaking around, they could use them to help them escape. Shuriken are not exactly heavy-duty weapons. They don't do a lot of damage. But if there's a pack of people chasing the ninja and one of them suddenly stops, screams because there's a shuriken sticking out of them, the others might be a little bit more reluctant to be so hot on the heels of the ninja. They'll be a little bit more careful, not so willy-nilly going after him, and be more careful, which would allow the ninja to get away. And these type of things really would not merit much of a reference. There wasn't too much written records before the Age of Peace around 1600s. Literacy wasn't all that great, and these were minor things, so that type of reference really isn't all that unusual. As for books like the Bansen Shukai and the Shoninki, they basically just kept with ninja exclusive things. So, if it wasn't ninja exclusive, they didn't cover it. So, and as I said, everybody used shuriken. So they didn't need to put in the Bansen Shukai on how to use it or advise people to carry them. In fact, in terms of use, they don't really have much in the terms of basics for anything. Like they talk about swords and how you can use a scabbard and a cord and a sword to deal with spears, but they don't give actual techniques. And they don't talk about the basics of using the sword, of course. And in terms of stealth, the Bansen Shukai has got advanced theories and techniques such as Kanon Gakure and stuff like that, but you won't find a reference to how to low crawl or how to climb a wall. These things were already known before you cracked the book. But if you did want some sort of literary reference to the ninja and shuriken, let's look at the Bansen Shukai. This is my translation of the Bansen Shukai and the Shoninki. If you have it, and you go to page 378, you will find this interesting little passage. No matter the torch you make, you should use a left braided rope and left-sided knot. Put a 4-sun long nail at the base. This then can be used as a shuriken. Use one with 4 sides to the handle, add ignition powder to the center of the torch. There is Kuden. So, do you understand the significance of that simple little passage? A book written by ninja for ninja assumes that everyone reading it would be familiar with how to use a shuriken. I think that puts it to rest that at least when this book was written, the idea of ninja using shuriken was a valid one. Okay, so continuing on, but I do want to deal with a few other myths. I dealt with myths in the book Mysteries of the Ninja, but won't go too much detail. One thing I mentioned about how the ninja threw shuriken around like their expiration date was the next day. Japan is a metal-poor country, and shurikens do weigh things, so the amount of shuriken that they could carry around was rather limited. 3 might have been the max for most of them. So they were kind of reluctant to throw them away. So that whole thing, they could use them in their hands in certain ways. Again, I detail in the book. I'm not going to detail them here. But yeah, the whole idea of them just throwing them willy-nilly, no. They were much less likely to be thrown. Another thing I did not deal with that I want to do, I didn't deal with my book Mysteries of Ninja that I want to deal with here, is the idea of specific shuriken for specific styles. Fujita Seiko put together a little book. I translated him. And here he has a couple pages of just putting out all the different types of shurikens, different styles from different ruha and such like that. You have to understand, okay, again, in 1600, the Balaseki Gahara kind of ushered in the last shogunate under the Tokugawa clan. They had real peace for the most part. There was peasant uprisings and such like that for about 250 years. As a result, a lot of things involving warfare and martial arts kind of degenerated and changed. For one thing, you look at armor made during this peaceful period called the Edo period, after the capital in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo. You look at the armor, and it's not practical. I mean, it's real pretty, but we're talking things like face mask, mempo, where extremely limited field of vision, the pinpricks for the eyes, and the mouth is completely covered, so you can't suck in as much oxygen as you need during a real battle. So a lot of impractical stuff. Also, a lot of things in the Ruha, the styles and schools of martial arts, got codified and standardized. If you study a style of sword now, you will use the boken that style uses. Everyone in the dojo uses the same boken. They all use the same length of stick. A few years ago when I was living in Japan, a few researchers started looking into it, and they found this really wasn't the case until fairly recently, Edo period or so. A founder of a school, and senior instructors of a school, their boken were basically like still passed down through the families as relics. And they found that, 2 different, like 3 generations difference between like the founder and a senior instructor, their bokens were different. They were matched to the size of the person and maybe the actual sword they were carrying. The idea of standardizing things was a later idea. So the whole, the shurikens in this book, probably not during the age when they were actually being used. The shuriken, they're really nice looking shuriken, but some of them are just damn unpractical. The ones that were actually probably used were probably a lot simpler and a lot more practical. So again, shuriken were used by the ninja as that section of the Bansen Shukai shows, but it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't. It was just one thing, and they would prefer to use something with more oomph when the situation allowed. The main thing with shuriken is that they were easily concealed and could be carried around when they were sneaking around, dressed as a servant or sneaking past a wall. So yeah. So again, it's more nuanced. Shuriken were used by ninja, but don't obsess on them. I hope this helps people, and if you got any questions, well, offer to buy me a beer before you ask. Thanks.